Hey guys, welcome to my channel ProCells. So today I'm going to give you few tips to study 10th CBSE English like a pro, so that you can appear your boards or pre-boards, school examinations or home test tension free. Now I'm going to tell you that I just passed out from 10th, so I'm just not going to give you motivation or just brainwashing you about something or like that. I will just give you a few tactics, few tips that will be useful to you like it did to me. So, yeah, let's get started. Tip number one, stop procrastinating. Now, what I mean when I say stop procrastinating is stop convincing yourself by giving excuses like I'll do it tomorrow or I'll start this syllabus tomorrow, and again the next day you start giving the same tomorrow excuse to yourself. So, now this is very important that you manage things well rather than delaying them and break your schedule in small segments so that you will have a good time management. Now, I will also recommend you about which books to follow and how to attempt the sections later. But first, you have to really understand this moral beginning of the tips section. Okay, so that's all. I just wanted to say stop procrastination because procrastination doesn't help. Now, let's go to the second tip where I'll tell you about your exam paper section and all that. So, let's get started. So, now in the second tip, we are going to discuss about how to attempt the sections well. Okay, first you have to attempt it's really difficult for students to decide which section to attempt first. Now, let me tell you, this is not that difficult. You have to just start with the section you are most confident about. But generally, I would suggest to start with the section A and then complete the literature section, then come to the grammar and writing section. First section A, then C, and then B. We'll discuss about it individually, section A, B, and C, but let me just tell you overally about something. um, when you get the paper, you get 10 to 15 minutes, I don't know exactly, 10 to 15 minutes you get to see to see the paper, to read the questions and analyze it, to make out if there's any problem, and to fill out the paper. You have to just write your name and all that. So within the 10 to 15 minutes, what you can do is you can really go to the writing and grammar section, leave about the writing at that time. Within the 10 minutes you try to solve those grammar questions. Just see how many you can solve them, because at the end, if you keep on thinking about the grammar questions and all that, it's very time consuming. Okay, you just don't have time to sit and think for 10, 20, 30 minutes. So, solve out the easy questions in the grammar section: integrated grammar, omission, addition, jumble words, fill in the gaps, whatever. Just solve out how much you can, how many you can. So, the reason I'm suggesting this method is because when you are done with the easy questions in those 10 minutes, you will really get enough time to think, to critically think on the difficult questions that actually need your time. Because what happens is, in hurry, you also do mistakes in both the easy questions that you're confident about and obviously in the wrong questions. So, you can manage both the sides in a very balanced manner. So what I'm telling is, when you're done with the easy questions, like you have marked that, you just sharpen your pencil and just slightly put dots or ticks, slight lines on the MCQs like that are present in the filling the gaps. So just put that fine lines so that in the later time you can remember that this is the correct answer to this question. And if you have got jumble words, then in the jumble word section, what you can do is just mention 1 2 3 4 so that you can rearrange them in that way. Okay, so now when you're done with these easy things, then you can really give proper time to difficult and complicated questions which really need your time. So yeah, that's all, and let's now discuss about section A, that most students think is the easiest section. No doubt it's easy until and unless you just take it for granted and write the answers, very carelessly, just because you think the answers are mentioned in the paragraphs directly. You just have to take it, borrow it from the paragraph, and put it on your answer sheet. That's not like that. Let's discuss where the problem lies. So, what happens in section A, which is the reading section? Students basically think it as a cut and paste section. They just see the question, find the answer, like haphazardly find the answer from the text or the passage, and put it down on that answer sheet, on their answer sheet. Now, now where the problem lies? Doesn't it sound extremely normal? Don't we all do the same? No, that's not what we should do. You first read the passage properly, once or maybe twice, then go to the questions, then see. Now, what you're gonna prevent by doing this is that if you are just haphazardly going to the paragraph just to search a certain answer, there is a chance that you will get two similar answers and you don't know which one is the correct. You have no idea because you didn't give a damn about the question. Now to prevent this, what you have to do is you just have to go and read the entire passage properly. You will get a very strong base about what the passage is about. For example, if the passage is about coffee, you read it and go to the question section, and then the question demands what is the most enriching and booster coffee. Then you can just go to the passage, and with a head clear mindset, with a proper mindset, you will pick up a particular answer and put it down. You are not going to get confused because you already know the meaning of the passage, the base and the context in the passage. So you're not going to be the prey of such things. Now, talking about the MCQs, yes, MCQs are going to come. Maybe if in the revised pattern of CBSE 2020 to 2021, if it's not there, but still I'm telling you, MCQs, there are a higher probability that a higher number of MCQs are going to come. So yeah, so don't think that MCQs are going to come like easy peasy ones. No doubt it will be standard questions or simplified questions, whatever. But MCQs are easy, but MCQs are tricky. There will be four options, and mostly synonym antonyms, children do a lot of mistakes, students do a lot of mistake. So I'm just a 10th passed out. I just passed out from 10th in 2020 in this year itself. And when I was appearing for my boards, I scored 95%. That is why I think I feel like I'm eligible. I scored 95 in English, so I think I'm eligible to answer all these things or to explain you these things. So if there's any mistake, do write in the comment section below. Okay, I'm not 100% correct about things. It's just my ways to attempt things in the exam paper. Okay, I'm not willingly doing any mistake. So if you find anything wrong or something, do write in the comment section below. Feel free to write it. So talking about when I appeared the English board exams, there were MCQs and they were easy, but at certain MCQs, I felt like all the four options seemed same. Now, by critically thinking and understanding the question, the paragraph, I got to know that no, there's a difference. There's a difference between all the options given. So, yeah, you have to know that, and you have to get a stronger vocabulary to attempt things like synonyms and antonyms. Now, for that, you also need to build up a confidence. In board exams, it's your first big exam. You need to build up a confidence, and for that, I would recommend Oswald book. Now, there's no advertisement. I'm not doing any advertisement. I personally followed Oswald book, and I have got benefits from it. It has benefited me in certain ways, like I would say, especially in English, towards the last section, that is section C in literature, there is a 6 to 8 marks question you get. Now, in the last question or the second last question, I'm not able to remember that, I got a question that exactly came from Oswald. Okay, now I don't mean that, or I don't guarantee you that questions are going to come from this book. No, not at all. It may come from anywhere, but from your syllabus, according to your concepts and syllabus. What I'm telling is, Oswald gives you confidence, because when you sit for such an exam for the first time, you feel like, oh, this is so new to me. What will I able to attempt? I'm already so nervous. My hands, palms, and legs are sweating. So let me tell you, when you sit for Oswald to solve Oswald sample papers, test papers by setting a timer, you get familiar with those test papers and sample papers and such questions, such types of question. Similar questions may come in the examination. Even if it doesn't, still no need to worry. Oswald already, builds up a confidence in you to, attempt tougher or little less tougher things in the examination. So when you sit for the examination, you will feel like, oh, I have already attempted such questions. I already know the pattern. I have fallen, in a practice with such things. So you will feel like very normal and very calm, very relieved. So yes, it helps. Now, I talked about synonyms, antonyms, and all that. Online, you know, online tests also help a lot. So yeah, that was all about section A, how to attempt that. Don't be like nervous and do things haphazardly. Be calm, do things in a chronological order. If you feel like doing section A, B, C, go for that. But why I recommend section A, C, B is because, um, section A, it needs a very fresh mindset. That is why section A first. Section C is lengthy. Section B, you need a really relieved. I will talk about why I'm telling section B, why I'm keeping section B as the last section. I will talk about that later. It's a little lengthy. So let's finish section about section A here, and let's move to the section B, and we will discuss all about the writing and the grammar section. Okay, let's move to section B. Okay, so talking about section B, I'm going to, open the suspense. Why I say do section B at last and keep ample amount of time to solve section B at last. Okay, don't you just write grammar and solve writing things in just in a haphazard mindset. No. Why I say section B to do at last is because when there are formal letters, informal story writing, description, paragraph writing, whatever writing it's there, whatever you get options. Okay, whatever writing is there, when you do at last, there is no pressure on the mind that, oh, section C is left, oh, section A is left, this is left, that is left. No, there is just section B left, and you have already solved the easy things of section B in the first 10 minutes where your paper was given to read the questions and all that. Already those things you're done. You will definitely be able to keep a certain amount of time, enough amount of time to solve the complicated questions of grammar. Now, there's writing section. You need to be extra careful. Format is there, tense is there, representation is there, handwriting is there. Now, when there's pressure on the mind about section A and C, you cannot do that. Okay, because you need to think the plot, you need to structure the writing, you need ample amount of time to just think how to write and how to represent the structure, okay, of the story or description or paragraph, whatever, according to a revised syllabus, whatever is there. You need certain amount of time. So for that, you need no pressure on the mind. There should be just thoughts about writing and how to represent that, how to present that on the paper within the word limit. So that is why I say complete everything properly, then move to the section B, because section B is very critical and very, marks fetching and easy, but you need to be extra careful, because this is the most, sensitive section among the three. You do any single mistake, marks are going to be, taken off like that. So that is why there is writing section. That is why I say you need extra focus. That's why keep it to last, so that after completing everything you can be able to do that without any tension free. Now students are different, mindsets are different, everything is different. So according to your mindset, if you feel you are not comfortable with this sort of arrangement, you are free to change it anyway. Okay, but don't change the serial number. You can change the section. You can do for C, then B, then A, C, B, A, C, whatever. But keep in mind that 1 2 3 4 A, B, C, D, I, 2I, 3I, whatever is there, keep that in a chronological order. You cannot write 10 first and then 2 and then 3 then 5. No, you may there are you may okay, there are higher number of chances that the teacher will get entangled with all this confusing mess that you have created by writing 10th question first, then 8th, then second, then first, and you are going to lose marks. 50 to 70% chances are there, because you need to create an impression on the mind of the one who is checking your paper. That is why chronology must be maintained. Okay, now, talking about section B, we discussed about the writing section. Now, the grammar section already I had discussed in the starting point. You are already done with the easy questions. Now it's time to think about the complicated questions, mostly jumble words. If in this 2021 revised syllabus, jumbled words is not there, then congratulations. If it is there, do remember to follow this advice of doing easy things at the start, so that you can have ample amount of time to solve these critical thinking questions, complicated questions towards the end. Now after this is done, section B, I think it was short but it was enough. Let's move to section C. Okay, so let's now discuss about the last but not the least section, section C, that is the literature section. The total marks for this section is 30 marks. So now discussing about the section, the first thing you are going to get is extract. If in 20 to 21 a syllabus or CBSE pattern, extract is not there. If it's not there, then you may have probability to get one word answer. Okay, to the question you have to give one word answers. Now talking about the extract, you have to be very precise, very to the point, and have to write just what the question exactly demands. So now here you have to be really well prepared for that. You have to write everything in a very neat and understandable manner, because you are expressing everything the question demands in a single line or one or two lines. That's it. So now there will be two questions in or. First you will get a poem and then an extract from prose. You can either choose poem or prose. Okay. So yeah, now you have to express everything in very precise manner, to the point, and anything. Don't write over the top. Don't write just anything rubbish, not, something that is irrelevant, or how the person did, what he did, what is happening. You don't have to write all these things. You don't have to mention all these details. Just get to the point and write what the question exactly demands. Now, the most probable question is what I refers to in poems, and what is the name of the author and all that, and some more details. You have to understand the poem. And the most common question, and 90%, 95% this question may come, is the poetic device of the poems. Okay, you have to write the poetic device of the poems, one or two, anything. Now coming to the prose, the same thing what I refers to. And you may also get some tricky questions about a certain specific word. If the character has used a certain specific word in a very emphasizing manner, and that word holds really a lot of value to the story or to the prose, then you have to really catch up with that word, so that you can write that on the on your answer sheet. These questions do come in the exam. Okay, don't neglect anything, because what you neglect 90% of the times the same thing comes. Okay, now talking about the next is you have to write answers in brief but in 30 to 40 words. It is the same as, the normal question and answer types. Now, you don't expect things to come directly from the NCRT question. It may come from there, but higher probability is that conceptual and how you understand things and how your understanding of the literature is. In that way, you have to write the answers, and a question may come from the book. It may ask about certain vital things. You see, there are many highlighted points in the poem or story. You should put that in mind. Probability, higher probability is there those things might come. Okay, but do give a thorough reading to everything. Anything can happen on boards and you cannot complain there that we are not told about this, not told about that. Until and unless it's outside syllabus or something, you cannot really protest. Now, talking about the next, that is 8 marks question. You will get 8 marks question in two sets. In first, that is the second last question, you will get two questions in or, and you have to choose whether you have to do the upper one or the lower one. There will be two choices given, and you have to choose one of either of them, one from either of them. Okay, so choose the question you are the most confident about. Okay, it may be character sketch, value based question, or for example, let's take in your book Footprints Without Feet. There is a story, there is a prose called you know thief's story written by Ruskin Bond. So in that prose what happens is, there's two character, Anil and another is Hari Singh. Hari Singh is not his real name, but here we will prefer calling him or naming him as Hari Singh. Okay, so now don't just go to details of the chapter. I'm not explaining the chapter, I'm just giving an example that these questions come, higher probability is there. What we can do is now discuss the probabilities, nothing else. So what you're gonna do is questions may come like, uh, you know questions mostly come in dilemma. It's like truth, truth and dare you play na, like that. Questions will be in dilemma, you will do this or that, and if you do that or this, then why? Okay, now, if you would have been in the place of Anil, would you have punished Hari Singh or made him realize his mistake? I- If not, why? Okay, now such questions come. Now, this is a question which has dilemma in it. Now, you have to be really conceptual. For this, you have to be really analytic and you have to be really good in a vocabulary, and you have to practice sample papers to get familiar with such type of questions. Okay? Okay, so we are done with all the three sections. Section A, B, C, we are done with that. Now we will discuss why should we break our schedule in small segments. What is the significance of small in the schedule, and how to manage your messy schedule to get a good time management for this subject English. Okay, so let's get started with that. So let's now start discussing about how to manage our time and schedule and break them into small segments. Okay, so now we have to break our schedule in small segments, and how to do that. So let me tell you. When you start doing something little by little every day, by the end of the month you will realize it is such a huge progress. You won't feel, tired or dizzy or very hardworking or something like that. You will just effortlessly give a few hours in a single day to a single subject, and you will be also very smoothly able to manage your time for other subjects too. And by the end of the month you will realize already so much of the portion is already completed, it's already over, you are done with that. So let's discuss that how. First of all, give 2 hours to English. Okay, let me tell you. Now, this depends. 2 hours on Monday, if you give 2 hours, the first hour keep it for literature, and the second hour keep it for Grammar, integrated grammar. Now, how you are gonna do integrated grammar? You can do it with Oswald, and you can also practice integrated grammar questions through online classes. Sorry, what I mean is through online test. So online test have inbuilt timer. With that you can see within how much time how many questions you are able to get done and how many questions are correct, because they used to check it very quickly online. It's online testing are very beneficial because it's not time consuming, it's interesting, you get very competitive because you instantly see your score and there is no one to comment on you, and you can just directly switch to the next test and improve your results. So this is why online tests are so amazing and so beneficial. Okay, so we are now done with the online test. Now talking about why should you break your schedule. Why should you break your schedule? I already said you that's because by the end of the day you will realize you have done a lot without even realizing how much you have done. Because by the end of the month, by the end of the exam, you will realize actually very effortlessly, very smoothly I did manage to cover up all the things that I needed to be. Now if Monday you are doing this, on Tuesday you can do writings, and not only writings, you can also prefer some other literature things like poems and all that. Now talking about the Wednesday, keep Wednesday and Fridays, or keep any 2 days of the month, choose in between, okay, not towards the end or towards the beginning. Choose it in between, Thursday, Saturday, Wednesday, Friday, like this, okay, alternatives. So, what you do is solve Oswald papers or solve any sample papers of previous questions, or anything like that. They are extremely effective and they're amazing. They will build confidence, and any book, not only Oswald, any book you prefer, any book you prefer, online sample papers, online test, anything you prefer, but do solve a 3 hours paper. Set the timer, strictly sit down and solve it. Don't get up. Just feel that you are giving board exams and sit to get it done, and just create an environment, and by the end of the day you will feel, while you are done with the paper, you will feel like you actually gave a board exam and came. You will get that feeling sooner or later, and this feeling is going to help you really, in a really beneficial way in your board exams when you give it. So this is why I say set the timer, solve papers, not only of English but all other things too, all other subjects too. So, yeah, this is what I was talking about. So, now you can set your own timetable and schedule for all these things. Hope you understood everything, all the section, schedule, management, and everything. I was not, inspiring or motivating you. I was just giving you few tactics. Rest, you are smart enough to handle yourself. So, bye bye for today. We will discuss about more interesting things or chapters in my next video. If you have any doubts, do write in the comment section below. Feel free to write it. Bye bye.